They laughed at the quiet recruit, until her secret Navy past left the base speechless. The rain had just stopped over Fort Hardison when the new recruit stepped out of the transport truck. She was small, quiet, and carried nothing but a single tan duffel bag and a pair of calm, unreadable eyes. Her name was Elena Marlowe, and from the moment she crossed the barracks yard, it was clear she didn't belong, at least, not in the eyes of the others. Most recruits arrived loud, nervous, or overly eager. Elena arrived like a ghost, silent, composed, almost too still for a girl barely 24. Sergeant Briggs, a broad-shouldered man with a booming voice, scanned the group and barked. "Whoever moves slow, whoever holds us back, you'll know my name real quick." A few heads turned toward Elena, slow, quiet, walking at the end of the line. Briggs' eyes narrowed. "You," he pointed. "Why so slow?" Elena didn't flinch. "Just listening, sir." A ripple of laughter passed through the recruits. "Listening? In basic training? Who says that?" But Elena didn't react. She simply took her place at the back, her face as still as the morning fog rolling across the training yard. The whispers begin. Within a week, the whispers started. "She's too quiet. She's not strong enough. She's weird, never talks during meals. Probably won't last a month." Most recruits tried to prove themselves by bragging. Elena stayed silent. She ate alone. She studied alone. She ran alone. And when others failed obstacle courses or collapsed during endurance tests, she kept going, calm, steady, controlled. It irritated them even more. Why does she never get tired? She's pretending. She must be hiding something. But nobody asked her anything directly. It was easier to mock her from a distance, easier to assume her silence meant weakness. Only one person seemed to notice something different: Captain Rowan, the base's logistics officer. He'd served long enough to recognize the look in someone's eyes, the look of someone who'd lived through something they didn't talk about. He watched her during training. Her steps, too precise. Her posture, too disciplined. Her reflexes, too fast. Her pain tolerance, far beyond normal. This girl, he thought, has been trained before. The first test, week 3, brought the first major challenge: the night navigation course, a brutal test that had humiliated hundreds of recruits before. "You get one map, one compass, and one chance," Sergeant Briggs announced. "Miss any checkpoint, you fail. Panic, you fail. Get lost, well, try not to." Most recruits swallowed hard. Elena stood still when the exercise began. They dashed into the woods in groups, whispering nervously. Elena slipped into the darkness alone, without a sound. Hours passed. Recruits stumbled back exhausted, covered in mud and sweat. "She's definitely lost. She'll be the last one back. Told you she couldn't handle real training." But just before dawn, as the sky turned pale blue, a figure emerged from the tree line. It was Elena, and she had reached every checkpoint in record time. Sergeant Briggs froze. Captain Rowan raised an eyebrow. The recruits stared, stunned. She simply handed over her compass and said, "Finished, sir." No smile, no pride, just calm. It drove the others crazy. Mockery turns to resentment. The next weeks were even worse. The more Elena succeeded silently, the more the others targeted her. During drills, 2 recruits accidentally bumped her. In the mess hall, someone joked loudly, "Hey Marlowe, you know this isn't a meditation retreat, right?" Others laughed. Elena ignored all of it. But the tipping point came during a team exercise. Each group had to carry a 200-pound log across the yard. Elena's group refused to let her help. "You'll slow us down. Just walk behind us. You're dead weight anyway." Captain Rowan, observing from a distance, clenched his jaw, but said nothing. Elena walked behind them as ordered. Halfway across the yard, they dropped the log. 3 recruits strained to lift it back up. One twisted his ankle. The others panicked. Before anyone could shout for help, Elena stepped forward, lifted the log onto her shoulder, alone, and balanced it with steady breaths. The yard went silent. She wasn't screaming in effort. She wasn't shaking. She wasn't even breathing fast. She simply carried the entire weight until they reached the finish. When she put the log down gently, she stepped back without a word. The entire base stared at her in disbelief. And for the first time, fear replaced mockery. A secret revealed. That night, Captain Rowan finally called Elena to his office. She stood at attention as he said quietly, "You were trained before. I can see it." "Navy?" Elena hesitated. "You don't have to hide it from me," Rowan said. "I won't share it without your permission." Slowly, she nodded. "I served, but not officially." Rowan frowned. "Explain." Elena's eyes dropped to the floor, her voice barely above a whisper. "I was part of a civilian rescue team contracted by the Navy. Humanitarian missions. Flood zones. Shipwreck recoveries. Hostage situations off the coast. Nothing on record. Nothing people talk about." Rowan's eyes widened. "You were a shadow unit," he said softly. Elena didn't confirm it with words, but her silence was enough. "Why join basic training again?" Rowan asked. "Because," she said quietly, "I lost people. And I want to serve, officially this time." There was a heaviness in her voice, an unspoken grief. Rowan understood instantly. "I won't tell Briggs," he said, "but sooner or later your past will reveal itself." She nodded. She knew. The emergency that changed everything, it happened during the last month of training. A training helicopter malfunctioned midair, spinning out of control before slamming into the trees near the base's perimeter. Smoke poured into the sky. Recruits panicked. Officers sprinted toward the crash. Sergeant Briggs shouted, "Stay back! All trainees, stay back!" But Elena didn't stay back. She ran, harder and faster than any trained soldier there. When she reached the crash site, fire was spreading toward the fuel tank. 2 crew members were trapped inside. Officers were still seconds away. Seconds they did not have. Without hesitation, Elena charged through the smoke, ripped open the warp door, and dragged the first pilot out. Flames burned her hands, but she didn't stop. The second crew member was unconscious. The fuel tank hissed. Someone yelled, "It's gonna blow!" Elena threw her body inside the burning cabin, unbuckled the pilot, lifted him over her shoulder, and sprinted through the fire just as the helicopter burst behind her. The explosion shook the forest. Sparks flew. Smoke covered everything. And then, through the haze, Elena emerged, carrying the injured pilot, coughing but standing. The entire base froze. Sergeant Briggs' face went pale. Recruits stared at her like she was something unreal. Captain Rowan closed his eyes in silent recognition. The quiet girl, the soft-spoken recruit, the one they mocked, had just saved 2 military lives while risking her own. The base learns the truth. Later that night, Captain Rowan addressed the recruits. "You want to know who Elena Marlowe is?" His voice echoed through the hall. "She is a former Navy contracted rescue operative. She has saved more lives than any of us in this room." Gasps filled the room. "She didn't brag," Rowan continued. "She didn't tell you. She didn't need to. Because real strength doesn't scream. It acts." Elena stood in the corner, uncomfortable with the attention. Sergeant Briggs approached her slowly. "Recruit Marlowe," he said, voice trembling. "I misjudged you. We all did. And I'm sorry." She simply nodded. "I wasn't here to prove anything, sir. Just to serve." And for the first time since arriving, she smiled, a small, fragile smile that held both pain and hope. The legacy begins. Graduation day arrived weeks later. Elena stood in the front row, medals pinned to her uniform, not because of her past, but because of what she did at Fort Hardison. When her name was called, the entire base, officers, recruits, staff, stood and applauded. Not out of courtesy, not out of protocol, but out of respect, because the quiet girl they laughed at had become the strongest soldier among them. If Elena's story touched your heart today, if her courage, humility, and strength inspired you, then don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more powerful military stories, comment below and tell us which moment moved you the most. Your support keeps these stories alive. Thank you for watching. And remember, silent people often carry the loudest stories.